And welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus, and yeah, I know I promised you Merchant of Venus, but I really was eager to show you Carpe Diem, the latest game by one of my favorite designers, Stefan Feld. This will not be the only Roman-themed game we will see by Stefan Feld this year, as far as I know, and I'm really looking forward to the other one too. But yeah, today I will walk you through, or maybe do a full playthrough of Carpe Diem. He plays very fast, to be honest, and yeah, really happy to show this to you. Hope you will like it too. Okie dokie, and here we are. This is the setup for a 3-player game. It doesn't really feel much different to a 2 or a 4-player game, but one thing that really differs is the scoring area here. In a 3-player game we are lacking those two spots here, so in the 4-player game all of those spots are available, and in a 2-player game those 2 cards will be gone as well. And this scoring mechanism is really what stands out in this game. I really like this a lot. It's very tense. You have to do a lot of thinking around the corners in order to gather the right amount of resources and build the right buildings in order, yeah, not to get penalized, because you always have to score 2 of those cards at the end of each round, and for each card that you're not able to fulfill its condition, you're losing 4 victory points, which is definitely something you are trying to avoid. But of course I will come to all those mechanics as I go. But let's have a look at each of those player districts here. They're highly randomized. There are 16 of those frames here. You put them together in a jigsaw fashion as they come, so mix and match it every time you play it. This big tile here is also different from player to player, so this alone is definitely highly increasing the replayability. But what's also so important in respect to the replayability are those scoring cards, because there's a huge pile of those available in the game, and we're really only playing with a fraction of those. So you're mixing and matching those. There are some rules how you basically build up this stack, but each time you play it you will face different challenges with this game. It is really something which I like a lot. Carpe Diem is played over 4 rounds in total, so for each round you are playing you will place one of your little scoring discs here, but again I will explain this as I go, though this will pretty much tell you how long we still have to play. And in each round you're basically taking 7 turns. Turn is very simple. You move your little patrician miniature here to another space, you grab one of those tiles, you build these tiles into your district, and then it's off to the next player. Again, you do that 7 times and we do some scoring, and after the 4th scoring we see a final scoring where you get some more, let's say, bonus points, which are described here at the bottom of this little player overview here. So you get half a point for each of your resources by the end of the game. You get points on where you are on this banderole track and more like this. Again, this is something I will explain later. I'm not 100% sure if I will play all 4 rounds. Maybe I will play 2 rounds, then play the 3rd and 4th round off camera and then show you the final scoring. Let's see how things go and let's see how interested you are. But I think without further ado, let's get started. Maybe one final thing to describe. The first player starts the game with 8 of those victory point cards. The second player gets 9 victory points, and the third player starts the game with 13 cards. This is very special for the third 3-player game, because the 3-player game will be last in turn order twice, because the starting player will basically move around the table. And I think this is something to balance things out. And yeah, starting the game with 13 victory points is definitely not a bad thing. And as I mentioned, blue will go first. Normally you always have to move your patrician, so you cannot stay where you are. There are some deviations from the rule, but for now let's make it simple. You have to move your patrician. You have to move your patrician to one of those opposite spaces on the position where you are right now. So those are printed here on the game board as such. So he could move here and he could move there. Once you have moved, you have to grab one of those tiles, you put it onto your district, and then you are done pretty much. If you cannot place a tile legally, then you can always place it next to your little overview and it will score you half a point at the end of the game. Before you start moving and grabbing those tiles, you should familiarize yourself a little bit with the scoring opportunities here, because you don't want to go into a corner and do stuff that doesn't really bring you anything in respect to victory points and other bonuses here, for example. Apparently, as I'm playing 3 players alone, I will make a lot of stupid decisions, because it's really tough alone to play ideal for one player, but really playing this well for 3 players, at least for me, is definitely impossible. So expect me to do some very stupid decisions. And after all, I really want to show you how this game actually feels like. So bear with me, but normally you should really have a closer look at those scoring opportunities, because for each of those things that you do or which you cannot fulfill, you will lose 4 victory points. So after all, you really try to at least get some of those conditions fulfilled. So this card here asks you to trade in herb tokens, which are those here. And for each of that you can trade in, you will score 1 victory point. Easy as that. If you don't have any of those, you will lose 4 victory points. And again, this is something that you try to avoid. The same is true here for each pair of fish and grape. You will score 3 victory points, for example. There are some ways to also mitigate this a little bit with bread tokens, but as well, I come to that later on as I play. But okay, let's simply start moving. And I think moving the blue player here seems like a good idea. Again, you have to go for one of those opposite directions. And I think I will go for this tile here. Yeah, that seems to be like a good idea. Let's go for it. And your first tile always have to go to the space where your shovel is. And I think I want to place this tile like here, because then I can already explain you what those border conditions or victory points are for. So if I would be able to finish this yellow dwelling here, then you see this line walks through this dwelling, which means this will score me 4 victory points at the end of the game. So this is also something that you have to keep in mind. You have those scoring cards, you have those things, you have to consider the bonuses, because once you complete one of those landscape dwellings or villas, you also get a bonus depending on what you finished here. So again, a lot of things to consider, but for now, let's keep it as it is. And that's already the end of the blue player's turn. Then it's red, and I think red wants to move in here to go for this tile here. This is something like a lake or so. I think the idea is to place this lake like this. Again, we have a scoring condition here, so if he would be able to finish this lake to these tiles here, for example, then he would score 5 victory points. It doesn't really matter how large this lake is, but overall he could really score a lot of points. And on the other side there is another one too, so if he would be able to make a really long lake, then he would score both of those conditions. That's 10 victory points, which is really something in this game. And by the way, when you complete a lake, you get fish, depending on how large this lake actually is. And when you have a close look at our scoring cards, there are at least 3 cards that are asking for fish. So overall, going after lakes doesn't seem to be a bad idea. Then it's yellow, and I think yellow will move in here and grab this tile of a villa. And I think he wants to place this first villa here, because here he has a scoring condition which gives him 3 points for a villa that passes through here. Of course, all those buildings have to be finished in order to score those, so don't get me wrong. And here in theory he has the possibility to also score this at the same time. So overall, could be a good idea, and you get a lot of extra victory points at the end of the game the more of those chimneys you actually have. Then it's blue again, and I think blue wants to go after one of those wells. Wells are always completed, and now I have to show you how to place all your next tiles. So the next tiles always have to go adjacent to one of your existing tiles, and adjacent doesn't count diagonally, apparently. And of course, grass needs to go to grass, lakes needs to go to lakes, and those yellow, I think, trader dwellings need to go to the trader dwellings. So I could put this card here, or I could put this here. And I think for now, let's go for this direction here. No, I am not. I think I will go here. And the well allows me to draw 2 of those well cards and pick one, and those are also endgame scoring cards. And yeah, it seems he doesn't really have a choice, so he can score points for lakes or for lakes. Good thing is he started to go for lakes, and by the end of the game you get pretty much 2 points for each completed lake. Doesn't matter the size, as long as the lake is complete you score 2 victory points. So yeah, let's grab one of those cards. The other one goes to the bottom of the deck, and that's already the end of the blue player's turn. Back to red. I think he wants to move in here to grab this tile here. So those are 2 dwellings. So this is a merchant, and the other one is, I cannot quite remember those. It's an administrator. And here's definitely a good thing about this game. This game comes in 3 languages, so you can play it in German, in English, and in French, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this game should definitely also hit the non-German markets relatively soon. So let's see, I think he wants to place it like this, because here he has another scoring opportunity towards the end of the game. So if he completes this, what is it again? A merchant. No, it's a merchant. If he completes this merchant dwelling here, he would also score 4 more points. Over to yellow, and I think he will move back here, and I think he will also go for this merchant one here. Yeah, this could be a good idea for him. And I think he will place it like this. Originally I wanted to do it like this, but then I noticed this is brown, it's not yellow, and really colors in this game are really a problem. It's sometimes really tough, because the backside they have this light green and they have this dark green here, and you can only really see the difference if you have them nearby. So that's definitely something not too awesome, but apart from that the components are pretty nice, to be honest. So I think let's do it like this, and in theory I only wanted to prepare whatever to go for this end game scoring as well. And of course I also want to go after those banderoles here, which will score you some points and give you some other benefits. Then it's blue. I think blue will move in here to the red player, and he will go for this market here. And markets are pretty nice too, because they score you an immediate coin when you place them. So he will place it like this. So he will now free up this banderole here. First of all, he will score 1 coin, and coins are wildcards when trading this in for scoring. So they can be any resources, wine, fish, you name it. So he will put it onto his player screen, and the next thing that would happen, he would have freed up his banderole here, which means he will also advance on this banderole track here. And this is pretty much end game points, so wherever you are, those are points you gain at the end of the game. And on top of this, whoever is farthest ahead of all the other players gets first dibs on those scoring cards, and that's really a huge advantage. Being first here, make sure you get the cards that you can actually score. Then it's red, and I think red wants to move in here in order to either grab this or this tile. I think he wants to have some resources, so he will go for those landscapes here. I think that's a good idea. And I think it's also a good idea to place it like this, so he could go in either direction now. But what's also important, he has freed up this banderole token, so he too will move ahead, and now he's considered to be in the lead because he's on top of the stack. So he now gets first dibs when it comes to those scoring cards. Then it's yellow, and I think it's not immediately the best idea to move in here, but from here he can then move to the location he actually needs to go to, if I'm not mistaken. I think from here he could move down. I think that's the better deal. So he will go there, and I think he will start to finish his villa. So I think for now he will place it like this. Yeah, that's a good idea. Right now it's still not completed, so he will not be able to score this at the end of the game, but he has plenty of time. And I think it's also a good idea to have as many chimneys as possible, because right now there are 2 scoring cards out there which demand chimneys, 3 each. So I think he needs 1 more to go in order to, yeah, basically score either of those. Blue will move in here. I think he needs this tile, which works pretty well for him, because he can place it like this. This will give him another banderole, which is a victory point right off the bat, and he may be able to score this bonus here at the end of the game if he will be able to complete this baker's dwelling. Of course, let's not forget to move on the banderole track accordingly. So again, this will also score him 2 victory points by the end of the game, which isn't bad at all. Over to red, and I think he also wants to go after one of those markets here. Getting those coins is really not unimportant, especially early in the game. They will really greatly help you fulfilling some of those scoring cards. And the only legal way to place it is next to this lawn here, or I don't know what it's called. And yeah, this gives him pretty much 1 coin, which you can trade in for a fish, for example. Then it's yellow, and I think he will move down here. Originally I was thinking of completing the merchant, but I think it could be cooler for him to go after this landscape tile here, where you get some of those cocks or chicken. Yeah, let's grab this. Let's place it into his district. Again, this will help him to score 5 points at the end of the game, and of course he will score this banderole. And right now this would mean that red would be last, and that's a situation that you don't want to see yourself in, to be honest. But yeah, right now that's what he has to live with. Blue is a bad situation right now. In theory, he could go for another well, and getting those well cards early in the game definitely helps you to shape your strategy somewhat at least. Or he could really go after some more of those other landscapes, and I think this is what he should do, to be honest. I think that's the better deal for him. Yeah, because again, you won't want to end up with as many resources as possible, and I think there's a good chance. No, it's not. Ah, crap, he needs wine. Again, I didn't see this color right correctly. This is really a grape tile that he needs, and right now he cannot reach grape landscape or a vineyard or whatever you want to refer to it. So no, I think, yeah, let's go for another well. So he will move in here, he will grab the well. This means in a 3-player game that the last remaining tile will be removed from the game, so no one else can grab some tiles here. If you land here, you can continue moving, or you have to continue moving, because this is really what you have to do. You have to claim one of those tiles. But let's see where to place this tile. I think I want to place it right next to this well. So let's draw 2 more of those cards. And here he found the perfect card for him. This gives him 2 victory points for each well he has by the end of the game. So really a huge incentive for him. That's really great. And of course you keep those cards face down or hidden from the other player. So let's get rid of this bakery here. And yeah, he will totally go for this card. Red is next. He will move down here, and I think he will claim this tile. So I think he's the first one to really complete a building now. And this will be the merchant here. Those dwelling always consist of exactly 2 tiles pretty much. So there are no longer tiles like in the villa, for example, or for those landscapes, which can be more than just 2, but those dwellings always consist of 2. First of all, he completed this one, so he will score 4 points at the end of the game. And he will also gain the bonus of the merchant, which is a bit unfortunate for him. Because what the merchant allows you to do is to trade in all of your resources you have for coin. So whatever, if you have 3 grapes, you gain 3 coin for that. And coins are great because they are wild. But you also gain a bonus coin. So in this case, he doesn't have any resources, but at least this allows him to grab 1 coin. And overall, that's not bad, having 2 wild cards during the first scoring round. Yellow next. I think, yeah, he will make his villa even longer, so he will go for this tile, and I think he will place it like this. And the overall idea is to get another connector here, so that he will really make a large tile, and then this villa will basically score 2 of his frame conditions here, which is definitely huge. And he will also be able to grab this banderole sooner or later, and he has 3 chimneys already. Then it's blue, and I think blue will move in here, and he will go for this tile here. So this is partly a baker. And again, he completes a building, so this will bring him 4 victory points at the end of the game. And what's really more important, a completed baker gives you 2 pieces of bread, and you can use bread in all kinds of ways. First of all, you can use 1 bread in order to freely move your partition. So when you spend 1 bread, you can stay on your current space, you can jump wherever you want. That's really a huge advantage. But what's more important, if you ever collect 3 bread, you can automatically satisfy a condition of one of those scoring cards. So let's say you cannot complete this card here because you don't have either of those buildings, or you're lacking 1 well, for example. Then you can spend 3 bread or more, or 6 bread, for example, to score this card. So this would give you 5 victory points. If you had 6 bread, which is very unlikely, then you would score this card twice, for example. That's 10 victory points, and that's really huge. So getting bread is definitely, yeah, a very important piece in this game. Of course, let's not forget to get rid of this tile here, and then it's back to red. And I think red will move in here to grab this. I think that's a vineyard now, so this tile gets removed as well. And red hates to be last, so I think he will put this tunnel. Let's do it like this. This will also score him 1 banderole, which means he jumps to first place rather than last place with 1 simple tile placement. How awesome is that? Yellow will move in here. Now he can freely jump somewhere else, so he could jump back here, he could jump to this space, but I think he will jump here, and then he will jump here because he wants to go for those bakeries. So this vineyard will get removed, and I think for now he will simply place the bakery here, and this bakery simply gives you one piece of bread. Then it's already the last move for blue. I think he will move 1 and 2 spaces here. He will grab this tile, this gets removed, and he can still try to score a green building here. So I think he will place it like this. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the first round for blue. Then it's red, and I think red wants this tile here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, let's go for this. This will let him complete this tile here. And you always get resources equal to the size of your landscape -1. So in this case, he will simply score one of those chicken tokens. Then it's yellow, and I think, oh no, this is gone. Ah, crap. I was hoping for this. No, of course this is gone. So yeah, he has to move bum bum like this and there. Yeah, let's simply get this one here. So this gets also removed. I think he will place it like, no, he will place it like this for now. Unfortunately, cannot complete this one here, but he comes closer to scoring this tile at the end of the round. And yeah, that's really the end of the game, and this is the end of the round. And in this case, red will have first dibs on those scoring cards. And what now happens, you will take one of your discs and will place it between 2 of those cards in any legal. So you always have to score 2 cards, and I think in this case he will go for this combination, and this combination can never be scored again in this game. So whenever the disc is placed, it's there until the end of the game. But I think he should be able to complete both of those conditions, because here he needs to spend 1 herb. He has that. That's a coin. That's a wild card. He can do that more than once. So if you have more than coin, he can score this card several times. But in this case, he will simply go for this. So this will replace this herb. And here he has the chicken in order to score this card as well. So in total, he will now score 4 victory points. But what's more important, he will not lose any victory points because of penalties. And I think here I wasn't really paying attention. In theory, blue would have been able to score this card, but he's lacking a bakery for now. So he has the market, he has the well, but he doesn't have the bakery. And there were bakeries out there. So I think that was definitely something I missed on my part. So I think, he sees that yellow will have a lot of chimneys. So I think he will go for this combination here. He will pay 1 coin for this fish. Unfortunately, he will not be able to fulfill this card down there. He doesn't have 3 chimneys in his district, so he will lose 4 points from that. So in total, he will now lose 3 of his 8 starting victory points. That's really disastrous. That shouldn't really happen. So I'm not really paying attention enough. But yeah, that's how things go. And last but not least, it's yellow, and I think he will also go in here. He has 3 chimneys, and I think here he doesn't need chimneys on completed villa. He has 3 chimneys in his district for now. At least this is how I understand it. So he will gain 4 victory points, but he will lose 4 victory points because he doesn't have the administrator. So yeah, that's pretty much even things out for him, though that's okay. He started the game with 13 victory points and he's not losing any of those, so overall not too bad. And then this is really the end of the round. The next thing that would happen is that we will restock all of those things here. So let's do that. The starting player will move to the red player, who will then start the next round, and I think he will totally go for this river tile here, in order to place it like this, because if he would be able to complete both of this, he would score 10 victory points and he would get a lot of fish for this. Then it's yellow. Not sure if it's really a good idea, but I think he really wants to go for, I don't know, maybe this or that tile. But let's go for this tile. So in this case, he has to spend 1 bread. This allows him to either stay where he is, so he could also stay here, or he could move over here. And I think this is what he will do. He wants fish. So he will fly over here with his bread, which he spent, and he will grab this tile, which he will place like this. So this will also give him 1 banderole movement, but it also helps him fulfilling his goal down there. And that's 5 victory points at the end of the game. Let's not forget to move his banderolls. Right now he's in the lead again. And I think blue really wants to get this bakery here. That's perfect. So I think, yeah, let's place it like this. And this gives him the third bread he needs in order to satisfy any one of those scoring cards. And I think one thing that I really didn't explain yet, so those scoring cards come in two colors. So we have the green ones, which I think they're pretty clear. You simply have to have the requirements so that you're not spending anything. Whereas the red cards tell you have to spend the resources that are printed on them. With bread, it's a little bit different. You have to give away the bread anyway. No matter what card you are trying to fulfill here, this or those three breads are gone. Then it's back to red, and I think he wants to complete his vineyard for now. So let's grab this tile. We'll place it here, and yeah, this gives him one grape again. Size of the landscape -1. Then it's yellow, and I think he will now at least partly reconsider his strategy, at least a little bit. Not really tremendously, but I think a little bit for now. He will move down here in order to grab this tile. This will let him complete this, I don't know what it is. And therefore he gets 2 chicken, again, size -1, and that's 2 in this case. In theory, he could still try to make it somewhere, but I think it's really unrealistic. He could still go for another villa here, for example, later on, but I think he's currently fine fulfilling the scoring of this condition out there, and I think it's more important for him to do other stuff. Then it's blue, and I think blue wants to move in here to take this tile, and this completes the dwelling of a craftsman. And what this allows you to do is to grab one of those bonus tiles, those dark green bonus tiles which are here at the bottom of the game board. And this is now tempting. I think he could really go for this vine here for now. I think that's a good idea. Or should he go for another market? That could also be nice, to be honest. That's all tempting, but here he gets the coin right away. Yeah, let's go for the market. He will place it like this. Of course, he will score yet another coin for that, and he will also move 1 space on the banderol track here, which is really important. I think red wants to complete his pond here, whatever it's called, so he will move in here to grab this tile. So to place it like this, unfortunately it's not yet completed. We'll really give him a lot of fish once he has completed it, but I think he gets there, I think yellow wants to complete his vineyard for now. I think that's a good idea. He will grab this in order to place the tile like this, so this will give him one of those. No, that's NERB. Oh, what am I talking about? No, that's NERB. That's one of those leaves. Well, that's fine too. That's fine too. He would wanted to score this one here. Yeah, I think that's okay. And I think blue, does he want the pond here? Or does he want to go in here? They are both great. No, I think let's move in here to also complete this herb garden. So first of all, he will score yet another banderol. So he's now at 4 already. And of course, he will also get one of those herbs. Okay, I think now it's time for red to complete his pond. So he will totally go for this here. So let's build it like here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. So in total, he will now score 3 pieces of fish. How cool is that? And now it would be really cool for him to complete one of those merchants, because then he would gain 5 coins back, which would be huge. I think it's time for yellow. I think he will go for this administrator building on there, because it really fits pretty well for him. Yeah, let's grab it. And I guess he will want to place it here, because then he would be able to score this one here, and he's 1 step away from getting another banderol. Then blue is last, always last right now, so he will go in here, and I think he will claim this merchant here. So this goes away. This lets him finish this merchant, so he has to trade in all the resources he has right now. 1 herb, so he gets 1 in exchange, and always 1 bonus coin. So 3 coins in total is not bad. I think It's definitely a bold plan, I guess. Or maybe he should rather go... No, let's have red go for this well. I think he also wants to have one of those bonus cards. And this also allows him to grab one of those banderoles. So at least he will not be last at this point in time. But of course he will also grab two of those cards and pick one of those. And I think I will do those off camera. So you have some level of surprise at least. Over to yellow, and it's really not looking good for him, to be honest. So I think he will go for this baker here for now, because yet again he may be able to complete this condition, and he will also score a banderole, so he's now ahead of red at least. Then it's blue, and I think he also wants to complete his pawn for now. So he'll grab this, this gets removed, and by placing it here, he will also get one fish. I think red wants to get this bakery here, so this gets removed. And the main reason to do this is because he could go for yet another banderole. So right now he's in the lead, so even in the lead, or he's leading blue as well. And of course he will also gain one bread, which you can also use to jump freely on the board. It's really not ideal, to be honest, but I think he will still try to move down here in order to get this craftsman dwelling, because getting a bonus tile is never a bad thing. And again he prepares to get yet another banderole sooner or later. Then it's blue, and I think he will jump 1-2 spaces here. He will grab this and will remove this tile. And yet again he will grab a banderole, and of course he wants to complete this vineyard here. But the most important piece towards the end of the round is the banderole track, of course. Right now yellow is definitely far behind, which could be devastating, to be honest. Over to red, and I think the choices are getting worse. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think let's get him here, and he will go for this herb garden, which you will place like this. I think yellow will jump in here. I think I did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's the right thing to do. And I think he will go for this tile. This gets removed. I think he has to place it like this. That's the only place that makes sense for him. It's really getting tighter and tighter the longer you play. So at some point in time, those double space are really limiting you in the way how you want to build your garden in the end. Then last but not least, blue will move in here, and I think he will go for this vineyard, which he can place pretty nicely on the board. Over to the scoring, we start with blue, then red, and last it's yellow. And blue found the perfect pair. He will place his scoring disc like this. And again, keep in mind, they stay there until the rest of the game, so no one else will be able to score this combination again. He has those, and I think he has those ones, so he will score 5 victory points for that. Here he will spend 1 fish and 1 wine, that's 1, and then he will score 2 more coins in order to do that again. So that's 6 plus 5, that's 11 points, and on top of this he will also score 3 pieces of bread, or give it in order to score this card again. So that's 10 points plus 6 points, 16 points in total, which is really insane. And again, I wasn't really paying attention for all of the players, because red could easily have made this combination and he could have made it great. But yeah, it's really tough to play this game for 3 players. So I think in this case he will... I think he will still place it like this. So he will score 3 pieces of fish, which is okay for him. That's 3 points. He will not be able to complete this one. He doesn't have enough bread as well, so he will lose 4 points. So in total he has to give away 1 victory point, so he gets 2 back. But overall he's not doing that bad, to be honest. And yellow was a little bit better. He will score this combination. He has 3 chimneys, in total he has 4 right now. So first of all he will get 1 coin, and you can choose the order in which you fulfill those things. So you can go first here in order to get everything you need for the second card here, which he does in this case. So he'll grab 1 coin, And he will also move one space on the banderole track here. It's another victory point after all. And here he will give away one piece of herb and one coin. So this will also give him 3 more victory points. Not too bad. So he's not suffering any penalties. Awesome. Then it's the third round. I will populate the board and then we'll jump right back in. Then yellow will be the starting player, and I think he will move right in here in order to grab this baker, which allows him to complete his baker, so he will also score 4 points at the end of the game. But what's more important, he will also grab 2 pieces of bread. Over to blue, and I think blue could complete his vineyard here, and I think this is what he will do. So he will move down here, grabbing this tile, so he will place it like this, and this gives him 2 pieces of grape. He was really out of resources, so definitely getting some back doesn't hurt. For red it's a tough call, but I think he wants to complete his villa for now, because this also gives you another banderole movement. Then it's back to yellow, and I think again he definitely needs something special. He will spend another piece of bread in order to jump maybe here. Yeah, that's a good idea. And he will grab the administrator, which he will place like this. Of course, he will get a movement for his banderole, but what the administrator allows you to do is to move 2 more spaces on the banderole track. So in total, he's allowed to move 1, 2, 3 spaces. So that's 3 victory points for him, and he has some more chances to get first dips on the scoring cards later on. Blue remembers that he has some well cards, which allows him to score some victory points. So I think he will go here to grab this pond, which he will simply place here. So therefore he gets 1 fish, but also keep in mind he scores 2 victory points for each completed pond at the end of the game. Over to red. He cannot complete an administrator yet, so I think he will move in here, and I think he will then rather complete his baker. So this gives him 2 pieces of bread, so he has 3 in total, so he will also be able to substitute the condition of one of those scoring cards. And then it's over to yellow again, and I think, yeah, why not? Let's grab this merchant here. So first of all, he will get 1 more movement on the banderole track, so he has 8 now, and he will trade in his 2 chicken for 3 coins in total. For blue, it's yet another perfect jump, so we will move in here to grab this vineyard, so he will get yet another grape, but of course he will also score those 5 points at the end of the game. I think for red it's also time to complete one of his administrators. Of course, he also gets some points on the banderole track, so right now he's at 7, whereas blue is still on 5. And I think yellow will go for his second bakery, which may help him to complete one of those scoring cards, and of course he will also get 1 piece of bread. I think blue wants another coin, so this gets discarded. He will grab this market, which he will place in here. Of course, he will be allowed to move 1 space on the banderole track, but he will also get 1 piece of coin for that. And here's also yet another perfect move for red. He will grab this administrator, which will also allow him to move 1, 2, 3 spaces on the banderole track. Awesome! I think yellow, those are 2 tasty options for him. Getting the well, that's the only well that's left, I think. No, I think there may be wells under those green, dark green tiles too. I think this is better for him for now. I think it really is. Yeah, he will move in here to grab this. This well is gone, so he will place this craftsman here, so he gets 1 movement on the banderole track, coming closer to red. And what's more important, he will be allowed to grab one of those dark green tiles here. He could go for this pond, or he could go for a brown building too, or baker. Both are pretty good for him, but I think let's go for this pond. So he completed, and therefore he gets 1 fish. I think blue will make it simple. He will move down here, grabbing this piece of a villa, which will complete this one, and this also lets him move on the banderole track, coming closer to yellow and red, but still pretty far behind. And then it's red, and I think he will move down here, grabbing this one, which allows him to complete this herb garden here, so he will get 2 tokens accordingly. Ah, yellow has some poor choices, and I think he doesn't want to spend another bread, so he will move in here, grabbing this market, so this is gone. So let's place this market here. This will give him 1 more coin. And I think blue will move 1, 2 spaces here, grabbing this pond, because keep in mind he gets bonus points for each complete pond at the end of the game. And I think he will simply place it here. I think really red wants to go for another bakery. 1, 2, and 3. He will grab it. He will place it. Does it matter? Does it matter? No, I think he will place it here. This gives him yet another piece of bread. Last turn of the 3rd round already. We have yellow. And again, he's in a bad situation. He doesn't want to have either of those tiles. The only tile that he can somehow work with is this one here. So again, he has to spend 1 bread. He's not really doing that pretty well. So he will grab this. This is gone. So let's simply place this tile here. Really not ideal. No, I think not. Let's place it. No, I think no. Let's do it like this. No, let's keep it like this. He could still go after some other scoring conditions up there. For blue, it's pretty shitty too. Sorry for my language. So he will move 1, 2, 3 spaces here. He will grab this, and I think the only real meaningful way to do this is to place it maybe like this for now. And last but not least, it's red, and for him it's also not great, but I think he will jump in here. He will get rid of this. He will grab this piece of a villa, which he will try to place in like this. So again, he will move on the banderole track, which is not too bad, and he has really some chances to completing this one here at a later point in time. Let's move over to the scoring. It's red, yellow, and then blue. So tides have turned entirely. And I think red wants to go to this combination. He has this, he has a well, he has a bakery, and he has a market. So he will score 5 points here. And he doesn't have a chicken, but he has 3 pieces of bread, which he will use to score this card too. So in total, he will now score 8 points. Next is yellow, and he also found a pretty nice spot. So he'll place his disc here. He has 2 bakeries, so he will score 3 points here. Those are 3 more points, and he has 2 more coins as well. So that's 6 plus 3. So in total, he will also score 9 points. And I think last but not least, it's blue, and he also found a nice spot. He has those. We know that. So that's 5 points here. Here he has 3 chimneys. In the meantime, I checked it. Yes, that's totally perfectly legal. It doesn't really matter if those villas are completed. You just score the or count the chimneys in your district. He has 3, so therefore he will get 1 additional coin. He will move 1 space on the banderole track, and yeah, of course, he will also score 5 more points. Over to the last round, and now we will take the dark green tiles here, and they are differing because they only have end caps. I think I may have already explained this, so let's see the board. Again, blue will be the starting player for this final round, but that's the reason why yellow started the game with 5 more coins in total. And I think he definitely wants to move in here to complete his administrator. So overall, he will make 2 more movements on the banderole track. I think red will do the same, completing his administrator for yet 2 more spaces. And I think yellow will move in here, grabbing this craftsman, which will complete the dwelling as well. So again, he will be allowed to grab a bonus tile. And I think in this case, he will go for this merchant, allowing him to complete the merchant, and therefore he will trade in his fish for 2 pieces of coin. Back to blue, and I think he also wants to complete his pond. You keep in mind, it's bonus points for him. And of course, he will not say no to the extra fish he gets. And I think red, why not? He will go for yet another... Well, yeah, why not? And the cool part, he will gain yet another step on the banderole track, bringing it up to 14. Then he will grab 1, 2 more of those cards. And the cool thing about those cards is he could also throw in his first card he got and simply gets rid of one of those 3. So even if he wouldn't like this card, the first card he chose, he could give it back in order to get both of those. But I think in this case he's fine. He will grab one of those cards, which he can score pretty well. For yellow, that's really a bummer. He's not... he could. And I think he will. He will spend his remaining bread, and I think he will fly down here to this well. He also wants one of those bonus cards, and this also allows him to move 1 space on the banderole track. Again, he's ahead of blue, which is never a bad thing, and then he will pick one of the 2 well cards. Then it's back to blue, and I think, oh, that's really crap. No pretty tiles out there. So he will go in here, grabbing this piece of a villa, so he can score 2. And each completed villa gives you some bonus points at the end of the game too. Unfortunately, with 2 chimneys per villa, that's only 2 victory points, so really not great. And I think red wants to spend 1 piece of bread, and I think he wants to move in here to grab this craftsman. So he will get his very last banderole token. How cool is that? Which gets him to 15 points at the end of the game. And of course he will also gain 1 bonus. And what should he go for? I think the only thing worth taking is one of those villa tiles, which he will place accordingly. Then it's yellow. He will move in here. He will remove that. Last but not least, he will complete this villa here, so this gives him yet another movement. The banderole track, and again, that's a victory point. And then we move over to blue, and I think blue will grab 1 merchant. And there is a slight chance he may be able to score this bonus here too at the end of the game. Of course, the other players see that too. And then it's red. He will grab yet another craftsman, which he will place like this, but overall it's not really giving me a lot of options, to be honest. Again, I really should have paid more attention, to be honest, and there's really not much worth taking, to be honest. That's crap. So yeah, let's get this last villa here, which he will place down there. So this villa is also completed. This will score him 3 victory points at the end of the game. Pretty measly victory points, to be honest. Then it's yellow. He will move down here. He will grab this one, and wow, curses, curses. But for yellow, that's really not a bad move. He will get 1 chicken for that too. Then it's blue again, and I think he will go here, grabbing the market, because at least this will give him 1 piece of coin, and this could be another potential victory point. And then it's red, and I think he will move 1, 2, 3 spaces here, grabbing this piece of a villa, which will complete this one too. Again, yet another 2 victory points toward the end of the game. And then it's yellow. He will move 1, 2, 3 spaces here, grabbing this villa, which also gives him 2 more victory points at the end of the game. Then it's back to blue, and I think he wants to get, I don't know. Let's get here, and I don't know, what does he need? What does he need? I think he will go for some herbs. At least he will try to complete this one. Problem is, he will go in here. He will grab, does it grab this one or the other one? I think he will get this one, and again, curses, curses. So he will simply place it here. Doesn't really matter, I believe. And I think yellow will totally go for yet another bakery, which will place here. So hoping to get this last banderole here too. But of course, let's not forget the bread. Then it's back to blue. He will also grab the bakery. So at least he will get 1 more step on the banderole. So he's now on top of yellow. But this was also his last movement. And I think, yeah, then it's red 1 and 2. He will be able to complete this, I don't know, hen house or whatever it is. Definitely not entirely bad. So he will grab 1 more chicken for that. And then it's the last movement of the yellow player. He will simply go, does it matter? No, it doesn't. But at least he will be able to use his last bender roll, which means yet again he is ahead of blue. This gets removed, and now we do the final normal scoring. And red goes first. Unfortunately, that's not the most ideal move, but it's okay for him. Right now, he has 1, 2, 3 of those administrators. So he will score 9 points for this. He's lacking the fish, which is really, really sad. So he loses 4 points on total. He just scored 5 more points from this last normal scoring. For yellow, it's really, really bad. So he will score this one here, or he has to score this one here. So he's okay with that. That's 3 points. Unfortunately, he only has 1 more coin. So he will pretty much lose 1 victory rather than gaining 1. That's, again, very, very bad, especially in the last round of the game. You should really pay more attention to that. And last but not least, it's blue now. And he can score something at least. So he will go for, oops, where's the disc? Here's the disc. He will score this one here. So that's 1. That's 2. So 6 points here. He will also score this point. So that's 7 points in total. Not really great, but overall not too bad either. And now we move over to the final scoring. So we go here from left to right. So we will score all the remaining resources. So every 2 gets you 1 victory point. He has 3, which means in this case he will get 1 more point. That's the scoring for blue. Red has 4 resources in total, so he scores 2 more points for that. And yellow has 2, red counts 2, and also coin whatnot, so he will also score 1 more point. Next we score the banderole. That's easy. So it's 15 points for red, 12 points for yellow, and 11 points for blue. Next we score our villas, and blue has 2 completed villas. They all contain of 2 chimneys each, so in total that's 4 more points for blue, 7 more points for red, and yellow gets 5 points here plus 2 points here. That's overall also 7 points. Not too bad. Next we score the frames pretty much. So let's start with blue. So he was able to score this one, and it doesn't matter how often you have this building, you only score it 1. That's fine. He also scored the yellow one down there. That's fine too. He scored the vineyard up here. That's 2. He scored the green one here too. Didn't score this. He didn't score this, and he didn't score this. So in total that's 4, 8, 12, 17 points. Also not really bad. Let's do the same for red. He scored this one here. That's completed. He scored this one here too. That's 10 more points. He also scored this one down there. He didn't score this one. He didn't score this one. He didn't score this one. But he was also able to score this one, and he failed on this one, even though he really had a lot of those administration buildings. So in total that's 5, 10, 13, also 17 points. And last but not least, we have the yellow player. So let's see how good or bad he did. He scored this one, that's up here. He also scored this one, that's up here. He didn't score this one, but he scored this one. He also scored this one here, and he scored this one. Overall, not bad either. That's 10, 5, 10, 14, 17, 21. Well done, yellow. And last but not least, we will score those well cards here. So that's for blue. So all ponds and all wells score him 2 points each. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points for blue for both of those cards. That's not really bad. Yellow had administrative buildings. Who thought about that? And he also had bakeries. So that's pretty much the same for red, if I'm not mistaken. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points as well. Yes. And last but not least, we have the yellow player. He was going for those brownie ones. In the end, he ended up with 2 of those. That's 4 more points for yellow. Let's tally up the final score. And in the end, was really a close call, to be honest. Awesome. So we have 76 points for blue. We also have 76 points for red and 69 points for yellow. Those results are really not awesome, to be honest. So you can easily reach around 90, 100 points or so, really easily. But yeah, we have a tie, and in this case, The player who is last on the banderole track wins the tie, and that's blue in this case. How awesome is that? Really, really a close call, and overall I'm relatively happy playing 3 people and still getting those results. Is not entirely bad. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of my playthrough of Carpe Diem. It's really a very nice game. It's really a lot of fun to play. It plays relatively fast, so with 3 players I think usually you take 40 to 45 minutes easily. 4 players a little bit longer, things get a little bit more dense, but you have more tiles available and whatnot. Really overall love the scoring mechanisms, love how you have to think around various corners, love the replayability in respect to this scoring here. So overall, again, another job really well done, Stefan Feld. Appreciate it. Really a lot of fun to play this game, and I really hope you enjoyed my little playthrough here. Hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and I think the next one really will be Merchant of Venus, promise you. And yeah, see you then, and bye bye.